New Year's Eve, 1986. A day for celebration becomes a day for mourning when fire breaks out into DuPont Plaza Hotel in San Juan, Puerto Rico. As the fire travels through the hotel, people are left in a fight for their lives and stranded with slim opportunities for escape. It garnered the title for being the most catastrophic fire in Puerto Rico and one of the deadliest events in the island's history. It became the second deadliest hotel fire in U.S. history after the Winnicott Hotel Fire of 1946 in Atlanta, Georgia. Contrary to previous hotel fires, the tragedy in the DuPont Plaza served as a catalyst in legislation, promoting emergency procedures, ultimately altering the United States and what it means to be safe. The fire at DuPont Plaza broke out in a ballroom after the end of a meeting of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. The union had been meeting to discuss the hotel's last offer for a bargaining agreement, but the meeting did not go well. It had stopped agreements that would have protected 250 of the 450 employees of DuPont Plaza. Dissatisfied with the bargaining negotiations, some union members decided to take matters into their own hands. They planned the fire over a 10-day period with 3 small fires that were set in various parts of the hotel. Along with these small fires, the executives received threatening letters, which were denied by the hotel management. The hotel had been preparing for the New Year's Eve celebration where all 425 rooms were booked out and nearly 1,000 guests were staying. As the Teamsters unions met at the hotel, it was decided to start the fire and strike on December 31st. The fire broke out in the northeast corner of the South Ballroom around 3:20 p.m. One of the perpetrators, Héctor Escudero Ponte, using a can of Sterno, intended to set a small blaze in the ballroom where the new furniture was being stored. This furniture, covered with a synthetic petroleum material, unintentionally intensified the fire itself along with the burning of the new furniture. After the fire started, smoke began to fill the South Ballroom and started to flow into the main high North Ballroom through a missing part in the partition. The smoke emerged into the foyer through an open door in about 7 minutes. 10 minutes after the fire commenced, a flashover occurred in the South Ballroom and broke the window partition between the foyer and the South Ballroom. Immediately after the flashover, a deep, hot, toxic smoke traveled the lobby, forcing everybody to flee. This caused the blocking of the exit doors from the casino to the lobby. The remaining exit door, other than the main entrance, was blocked immediately after. Then a sudden flow of hot gases traveled from the foyer to the casino, changing the path of the fire in seconds. From the 96 deaths and 140 injured, the majority occurred in the casino. The casino itself, along with many of the hotel's features, had many faults. The doors to the entrance of the casino opened towards the inside, making it virtually impossible for the players to be able to open these doors amidst the chaos. DuPont Plaza also lacked sprinklers. In truth, at least 95% of the hotels in the United States during this time did not have water sprinklers. DuPont Plaza had obtained a faulty fire alarm system during this time, which did not warn the guests of the fire. Nevertheless, many guests did not react to the verbal warnings of the fire nor the first signs of smoke. Many only began to see a serious threat when the flashover broke the glass of the foyer, according to the National Fire Protection Association report following this tragedy. As the fire progressed, various guests began to throw themselves off of the building, making ropes out of bed sheets to climb down the balconies or rise to the roof to await rescue.
Yo no sé qué ángel me tocó por aquí. Tírate. Me solté. Sangrando por aquí, sangrando por acá. Caigo al concreto.
Even in the face of tragedy, triumphs are not far off, especially considering those who survived with odds against their favor. The success of the rescue mission came in the form of quick responders, such as local, state, and federal agencies in Puerto Rico, to lend a hand. In addition, private companies were able to aid in the emergency operations through the use of helicopters and ambulances. Although 96 lives were lost to this tragedy and 140 were injured, their response allowed for most of the guests to be saved. During the time of this incident, there had been no experience in Puerto Rico dealing with large-scale tragedies. Those who were able to rise to the rooftops were rescued by helicopters belonging to the police, Navy, National Guard, and Coast Guard. Aviation Officer Jose Maldonado, the highest-ranking officer present at the time, led the helicopter rescue mission.
As people got on the roof, and I was flying a huge, military Huey, which is very dangerous. And we decided to go into the roof, and we started taking people off the roof and flying them down to the beach, and going back up and flying them down to the beach. At that time, I was making coordination and calls back to home station to get other people to come in because we knew we were going to be there for a long time.
officers faced many constraints during the rescue, such as traffic, where to land the survivors, and getting more hospitals and ambulances to help.
Constraints, as far as we were concerned, was getting people there in time from the air to take the people off the roof, because we didn't know that building was going to collapse. Did you see what happened in the Twin Towers? We didn't know that.
At about 5:30 p.m., the fire was thus under control. The media and news reporters, despite the chaos, were able to document the incident live and keep the public informed. Jorge Orama, a novice for WAPA TV at the time, had described his experience as a reporter during this tragedy.
The confusion was so big that we all journalists learned how to separate the topics of the stories. When the worldwide agencies start covering the success, like Reuters, like EFE, like AFP, France Press, when we see their stories, we learn a lot of things. For example, they have a reporter for the investigation. They got a reporter for the people hurt. They got somebody in the trauma centers. So we all really learn, and the first lesson should be that we cannot exaggerate what is happening. What is happening is not the journalist's fault, it's not the police fault, it's something that is developing, and you have to respect that.
Furthermore, a detailed investigation was then carried out to find the cause of the fire. The principal investigation team, the National Response Team of the U.S. Department of Treasury, Bureau of Alcoholic Tax and Firearms, immediately led interviews. The 3 hotel workers were identified and arrested. Hector Escudero Ponte was charged with aggravated arson, interfering with interstate commerce, 2 concurrent 99-year sentences. Jose Francisco Rivera was sentenced to 99 years, also charged with aggravated arson. Armando Jimenez Rivera was sentenced to 75 years for his role in getting the cooking fuel used to start the fire. They were all charged with 96 accounts of first-degree murder and with 1 charge of conspiracy. In addition, hundreds of survivors and victims' families were compensated in the numerous million-dollar lawsuits which lasted about 4 years, reimbursing 2,411 families at a total of over $240 million for the emotional and physical damage caused by the incident. This triumph, although does not compensate for the loss of 96 lives, serves as a reminder that even though an immense amount of pressure, there is fair justice. The DuPont Plaza Hotel fire had a long-lasting impact. It served as a wake-up call to improve first response and their prevention on how to deal with similar situations in the future. It was important that, as a result from this tragedy, safety features would be implemented into every building. After the tragedy, the Puerto Rican government saw the need for fire safety policies by creating a Fire Safety Commission to recommend improvement in these areas. As a result, Law 73 was created in 1987. It mandated that all buildings taller than 70 feet must have a sprinkler system to limit the spread of a fire if one arose. This event also highlighted the importance of stairs in multi-story buildings. With elevators acting as a funnel for fire, it is a must to have stairs in a hotel. It also recommended that doors giving access to stairs should be accessible and have an energy system to provide light in case of an emergency. In addition, employees went through trainings and seminars on how to minimize the impact of fires and how to react before the fire department arrives. The biggest long-term impact came when President George H.W. Bush signed the Hotel and Motel Fire Safety Act of 1990, which promoted fire safety in public buildings by requiring them to have smoke detectors and sprinkler systems. It made property owners responsible for fire safety while giving state and local enforcements the responsibility to make sure that safety policies are enforced and equipment are up to date. Due to this legislation, hotels invest $500,000 in automatic sprinkler systems per hotel. Over 90% of the hotels had installed sprinkler systems to prevent another tragedy like this one between 1989 to 1999. After 33 years, the Marriott Hotel today stands in the place of what was once DuPont Plaza. Throughout this tragedy, authorities worked relentlessly to save the majority of the guests and find the perpetrators of this unfortunate event. Unfortunately, the fire that took the lives of 96 people has been instrumental in creating legislation and regulations to ensure safety so tragedies like this one do not happen again. At the end, the DuPont Plaza fire became a rude awakening for the need of fire safety and prevention laws, not only in the United States, but in the world as a whole, to protect future generations.